The marketplace hummed under the hot sun, alive with shouts, laughter, and the sharp tang of spices. Jean moved through the crowds like a quiet shadow. At 42, tall and slender, the Ethiopian man kept his head low, his dark eyes scanning for chances. Life had pushed him from village to city, from hope to hunger, and today hunger won. He paused near a stall piled high with silver trinkets, colorful stones, and old carvings. Behind the table stood Leon, 54 years old, white, lean, and tall, his Italian warmth shining even on tired days. Leon smiled at every passerby, his voice smooth as olive oil. "Come, come, friends. Something beautiful for someone beautiful," he called to a group of women. Jean pretended to study a basket of dates nearby. His stomach twisted. He hadn't eaten properly in days. Stealing was wrong. He knew that, but survival whispered louder. Leon turned to wrap a bracelet for a customer. In that moment, Jean's hand darted out, quick and silent. He lifted a small wooden box from the corner of the stall, carved with strange swirling patterns. It felt heavy, valuable. He slipped it inside his worn coat and vanished into the river of people. That night, in a tiny room above a smoky cafe, Jean locked the door and sat on the edge of his mat. Breath held, he opened the box. Inside lay not gold or jewels, but an old hand mirror. The frame was dark silver, twisted like vines. The glass looked cloudy at first, then cleared as he tilted it. He saw his own face, tired, sharp, guilty. But then the reflection rippled. For a second, he glimpsed a grand house filled with light and children's laughter. Then it was gone, leaving only his tired eyes staring back. "Useless," he muttered, tossing it onto the mat. But sleep did not come easy. Strange dreams chased him, shadows reaching for something he could not hold. The next morning, Jean returned to the market, hoping to sell the mirror far away. But whispers stopped him cold. "Poor Leon," an old woman said to her friend. "That box taken yesterday, it held his family's mirror. Been with them for generations." Jean ducked behind a spice cart. He watched Leon at his stall. The Italian's shoulders sagged. His usual smile was thin. Zuri, 22, lean and graceful with gentle Japanese features, stopped by with a cup of tea for him. She set it down carefully. "Leon, you look exhausted," she said softly. "Still thinking about the mirror?" Leon nodded. "It's more than silver and glass, Zuri. My grandmother said it shows you the truth of your heart and the road you're walking. Lose it and you lose your way." Zuri touched his arm. "Someone will bring it back. Good things find their way home." Leon tried to smile. "I hope so." Jean's chest tightened. He slipped away before anyone noticed him. That evening, back in his room, curiosity won. He picked up the mirror again. "Show me something worth stealing," he whispered, half joking. The glass swirled. Suddenly he saw himself, older, thinner, alone in a dark street, clutching empty pockets. Rain fell hard. No one stopped to help. Then the image changed. Leon stood in that same grand house from before, laughing with friends, holding the mirror up to the light. Jean dropped it like it burned. "Tricks," he hissed. But his hands shook. Days passed. Jean tried to sell the mirror. Every trader laughed. "Old glass. Take it away." Each night the visions grew stronger. One night he saw a tall woman with confident steps approaching Leon's stall. She was May, 29, black, tall, and graceful, her black British accent warm as she spoke. "I heard about your trouble," she said in the vision. "Take this. It's a letter from an old friend. It might bring you luck." Jean blinked the image away. The next afternoon, hiding behind bolts of cloth, he watched it happen for real. May walked up to Leon, just as the mirror showed. She handed him an envelope. "For you," she said. "From someone who remembers your kindness." Leon opened it, eyes widening. A map. To an old family treasure. May smiled. "You once helped my uncle carry heavy bags when no one else would. Kindness comes back, Leon." Jean backed away, heart racing. The mirror was predicting things, real things. That night he demanded answers from the glass. "Show me my future." It darkened, then glowed with torchlight. He saw himself sneaking into a rich house at night, grabbing a chest. But when he opened it, darkness poured out and wrapped around him like chains. Jean shouted and flung the mirror across the room. It hit the wall but didn't break. Breathing hard, he picked it up. The surface was calm again, waiting. The following day he watched Leon from afar. Freya, 55, broad and graceful with a strong Russian voice, haggled cheerfully over a necklace. "Too much, Leon," she boomed. Leon laughed. "For you, Freya, always a friend price. Little Imani, only 5, full of Spanish fire even at her young age, ran up and hugged Leon's knee. "Did you find your magic mirror yet?" she asked, big eyes shining. "Not yet, little star," Leon said, lifting her up. "But I believe it will come home." Jean felt something twist inside him. These people. Leon had family, friends, a life bright with connection. What did Jean have? Empty hands and heavier regrets. As the sun set, Jean overheard Leon speaking quietly to Zuri. "The mirror has a way of finding the one who took it. It shows them what they need to see. Maybe the thief will bring it back." Jean's blood ran cold. Bring it back? Never. But that night, the visions would not stop. He saw himself facing Leon, anger shouting, then the mirror falling and shattering. When the pieces hit the ground, his own reflection vanished from every shard. Jean sat up until dawn, sweat cooling on his skin. Just as the first light touched the window, 3 soft knocks sounded at his door. No one knew this room. Jean crept closer. "Who is it?" A calm woman's voice answered from the other side. "It's May. Open the door, Jean. The mirror has already shown me your name." She didn't wait for an invitation. She stepped inside, eyes going straight to the mirror in his hands. "You can feel it, can't you?" she asked. "It gets heavier every day." Jean closed the door behind her. "How do you know all this?" May sat on the edge of the only chair, folding her hands. "Because I've held something like it before. Not the same mirror, but one that showed truths I didn't want to see. I stole a necklace once, told myself it was small, no one would miss it. That night it started whispering. Every glance showed me poorer days, emptier rooms, colder nights. Until I couldn't breathe with the weight of it." She looked at him steadily. "The mirror you took, it doesn't curse you. It reflects you. Every hurt you cause echoes back. You harm another soul, you harm your own future." Jean set the mirror on the small table between them. The silver vines twisted in the low light, almost alive. "Prove it," he said, voice rough. "Show me." May nodded. "Look with me. No hiding this time." They both leaned in. The glass rippled like water disturbed by a stone. First came Jean's face, lined, weary. Then the scene changed. He saw himself walking through the marketplace at first light, steps slow. He approached Leon's stall, placed the wooden box down without a word, and turned away. In the vision, Leon lifted the lid, saw the mirror, and tears filled his eyes. He whispered, "Thank you, thank you." Time sped forward. Years folded in seconds. Jean, older, stronger, stood in a modest home filled with warmth. A child laughed and ran to him. A woman's voice called from the kitchen. Sunlight poured through clean windows. Peace. Then the image split, dark and bright side by side. On the dark path, the same older Jean, alone, ragged, clutching the mirror in a filthy alley. Rain pounded down. No footsteps came near him. No voices called his name. Jean pulled back, breath sharp. "Stop it." May's hand rested lightly on his wrist. "It's showing both roads. One you can still choose." He sank onto the mat, head in hands. "I can't just walk up and give it back. He'll shout for the guards. I'll lose everything." "Maybe," May said gently. "Or maybe he'll listen. Leon isn't the kind of man who crushes others for a mistake." Jean stared at the mirror. It had gone dark again, waiting. "What if I run?" he asked. "Sell it far from here. Disappear." May shook her head. "You tried. No one wants it. To them it's just old glass. To you it's truth. It only speaks to the one who took it." Silence filled the room. Jean rubbed his face. "Why are you here?" "You don't owe me anything." "Because someone once stood in my doorway and said the same words I'm saying now," May answered. "And because I see the man you could be, the one the good path shows." She rose. "Think on it, Jean. The mirror won't let you lie to yourself forever." At the door she paused. "Come to the market tomorrow. Watch Leon. See what kindness still lives there. Then decide." She left quietly. The door clicked shut. Jean didn't sleep. Morning arrived gray and heavy. He walked the streets with the mirror wrapped tight against his chest. It pressed like a second heartbeat. He avoided the marketplace at first. He wandered to the river instead, watching boats drift past. He thought of leaving the city, starting over where no one knew the thief he'd become. But every time the thought came, the mirror warmed against his skin, reminding him. By noon he couldn't stay away. The marketplace roared with life. Voices overlapped, colors swirled. The smell of fresh bread and roasted nuts hung in the air. Leon's stall looked the same, Piles of silver, stones, old carvings. But the man behind it had changed. His shoulders stooped. His smile was thin. Zuri was helping him, arranging beads with gentle hands. She glanced up often, watchful. Little Imani darted through the crowd, 5 years old and full of bright Spanish energy. She hugged Leon's leg. "Uncle Leon, did your magic mirror come home yet?" Leon knelt, voice soft. "Not yet, little star. But I'm still hoping." Jean watched from behind a stack of crates, heart twisting. He took one step, then another. A vendor shoved past. "Move." Jean stumbled. The wrapped mirror nearly slipped. He caught it. Across the way, Leon looked up, straight at him. Eyes met. Time slowed. Leon's face shifted. Not anger, not fear. Recognition. And something softer, almost relieved. Jean's legs moved on their own. He reached the stall. Leon straightened slowly. Jean's voice cracked. I have something that belongs to you." He pulled the bundle from his coat, fingers trembling. He unwrapped it. The silver mirror caught the sun gleaming. Leon stared. The market noise faded to a distant hum. Leon reached out, very slowly. His fingers brushed Jean's as he took the mirror. For a long moment neither spoke. Then Leon whispered, "Thank you." Jean braced for shouts, for guards, for chains. None came. Instead, Leon looked into the glass. His eyes widened slightly, as if seeing something private, something healing. A small, sad smile touched his mouth. "I saw you," Leon said quietly. "Weeks ago. In the mirror. I saw what you might do next, and what you could choose instead." Jean's throat closed. "You knew." "I hoped," Leon said. Zuri stepped closer, eyes wide. Imani peeked from behind Leon's leg, curious. Jean looked down. "I'm sorry. I didn't know what it was. I was hungry. I was lost." Leon set the mirror down carefully. He reached under the table, pulled out a small leather pouch, and pressed it into Jean's hand. Coins shifted inside. Enough for food, rest, a new start. Jean tried to push it back. "No, I can't." "You can," Leon said firmly. "And you will. Eat. Sleep. Then come back tomorrow. I could use an honest hand around the stall, if you want it." Jean stared at the pouch, then at Leon. He didn't know what words would fit, so he simply nodded. As he turned to go, Leon called after him. "Jean." He stopped. Leon smiled. Really smiled, for the first time in weeks. The mirror always finds its way home. And so do people if they choose. Jean walked away, the weight gone from his chest. For the first time in years, the future felt wide open. But deep inside, he knew the real choice was only beginning. The next morning dawned soft and golden. Jean stood at the edge of the marketplace, the small leather pouch heavy in his pocket. He had eaten, really eaten, for the first time in weeks. Warm bread, fresh fruit, a bowl of stew. His body felt lighter, but his mind still carried yesterday's weight. He looked across the busy square. Leon was already at his stall, arranging silver pieces with careful hands. Zuri stood beside him, sorting beads into small bowls. Little Imani chased a butterfly nearby, her laughter bright against the morning hum. Jean took a breath. Then he walked forward. When Leon saw him approach, the Italian's face lit up, not with surprise, but with quiet joy. "You came," Leon said simply. Jean stopped at the table. I thought about what you said. About honest hands." Leon nodded. "The stall gets busy. I could use help setting up, wrapping purchases, keeping things tidy. Nothing grand. Just steady work." Jean looked down at his own hands, calloused, quick from years of taking. "I don't know if I deserve." "You're here," Leon interrupted gently. "That's the only thing that matters today." Zuri smiled from behind the stall. "Welcome, Jean." Imani ran over, peering up at the tall stranger. "Are you going to help Uncle Leon find more shiny things?" Jean knelt to her level. "I'm going to try, little one." She giggled and ran off again. The day passed in small, simple tasks. Jean carried crates of new stock from the cart. He learned how Leon priced each piece, not by greed, but by story. "This ring belonged to a sailor who loved the sea," Leon would say. "It deserves a home with someone who feels the same." Customers came and went. Some haggled, some bought quickly. Jean watched Leon treat every person with the same warmth, rich or poor, young or old. At midday, Freya appeared, her broad, graceful frame cutting through the crowd like a ship through waves. "Leon, still smiling after all this trouble?" she boomed in her rich Russian accent. Leon chuckled. Better than ever, Freya. Look, I have a new helper. Freya studied Jean for a moment, then nodded approvingly. Good. A man needs purpose. You chose well, boy. Jean felt heat rise in his cheeks. No one had called him boy in kindness for a long time. As the sun began to lower, May walked past the stall. She didn't stop, but she met Jean's eyes and gave the smallest nod, like a secret shared between two people who had walked the same hard road. Jean understood. That evening, after the last customer left and the stall was packed away, Leon turned to him. Walk with me a little way, he said. They strolled along the quieter streets, the marketplace noise fading behind them. Leon spoke first. The mirror showed me many things over the years. Futures that could have been. Some dark, some bright. But the brightest ones always started with one choice: to forgive, to give, to begin again. He stopped under a lantern's glow. It also showed me Eugene. Not just the man who took from my stall. The man who could still choose light. Jean looked away, throat tight. I hurt you. I took something precious. You returned it, Leon said. And more than that, you returned yourself. They walked on in silence for a while. Finally, Jean spoke. I used to think taking what I needed was the only way to survive. But every time I took, something inside me got smaller. Emptier. Leon nodded. That's the real theft. We think we steal from others, but the deepest cut is always to our own soul. Jean stopped. I don't want to live like that anymore. Then don't, Leon said simply. Start here. One day. One choice. The rest will follow. They reached the corner where their paths would split. Leon placed a hand on Jean's shoulder. Come tomorrow. And the day after. We'll build something good together. Jean looked into the older man's eyes, kind, steady, full of years and grace. I will, he promised. Leon smiled. Then the mirror was right after all. Jean walked home under the stars. The room felt different tonight. Not because anything had changed in it, but because something had changed in him. He sat on the mat and thought about the mirror. Not with fear, but with quiet wonder. It had shown him two roads. He had chosen the harder one. And somehow it felt lighter. Months passed. Jean worked beside Leon every day. He learned the stories behind each piece. He greeted customers with a smile that grew more real with time. He saved coins, bought new clothes, rented a small room with sunlight. One afternoon, a family came to the stall, a mother, father, and two children. The youngest pointed at a simple silver bracelet. This one, the boy said. It looks like stars. Leon glanced at Jean. What do you think? Jean smiled. I think it's perfect for someone who dreams big. They sold it for a fair price. The family left happy. As the day ended, Leon looked at Jean. You know, he said, the mirror never really belonged to me alone. It belonged to whoever needed to see the truth most. Jean thought about that. Maybe it still does, he said. Leon laughed softly. Maybe it's waiting for the next person who needs a reminder. That night, Jean walked to the river alone. He stood on the bridge, looking down at the water that carried the city's lights like scattered stars. He thought about the man he used to be, quick hands, empty heart. He thought about the man he was becoming, slow steps, fuller soul. And he understood, deep in his bones, the lesson the mirror had carried all along. When you harm another, you harm yourself most of all. When you steal from your own future. When you choose kindness, even when it's hard, you open doors you never knew existed. Jean lifted his face to the night sky. Thank you, he whispered, to Leon, to May, to the mirror, to the part of himself that had finally listened. Then he turned and walked home. The road ahead was long, but for the first time in his life, it felt like the right one. And somewhere, in a quiet stall in a bustling market, an old silver mirror waited patiently, reflecting not just faces, but the choices that shape every heart. Dear viewers, tonight's story reminds us of a simple, powerful truth. In harming others, we only harm our own soul and our own future. Every choice matters. Kindness returns. Forgiveness heals. And sometimes the greatest treasure isn't something we take. It's something we give back. Sleep well and choose wisely tomorrow. Good night. Thank you for listening to this story by Afi Gray. What lesson did it teach you? If you enjoyed this folktale, like, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and join me for